I'm Zach Benfield with Blue Ridge Energy. I'm the vegetation manager and wanted to speak with you today about some misconceptions in some of the practices that's used. So the main thing is herbicide, and we get some pushback on herbicide, but understandably so, because people's worried about that and we want to take care of the environment, and so do we. But as far as what we've done and the precautions we take and the actual herbicides we use, it's much better than just a sole right-of-way trimming to take care of your power lines and provide reliable and safe service. We've actually brought in Don Hopkins from NC State, which studies every pollinator kill that's in North Carolina. We've brought in the Federal Fish and Game botanist to study native plants, and we brought in a Federal Fish and Game pollinator expert that his sole job is to travel the country and study pollinator habitat. Those three people we brought into our program to help design the herbicide program. And if you'll go and actually take a look at some of the areas, you can actually see that the pollinator habitat is tenfold better in those areas that we actually use the herbicide, because we're not out there just without a plan and without a knowing what we're doing. Our sole purpose is to promote that pollinator habitat, which in turn helps us create a reliable right-of-way, because we're solely spot treating on the woody stem species, meaning trees, and that opens up that entire floor for flora and forbs, wildflowers, things like that to pollinate and to thrive. Now, granted, we don't know what's in the soil, but whatever seed bed is in that soil is what will take off. But it will be low growing habitat. And if you'll actually go through a lot of our right-of-ways, you'll see a lot of warm season blue stem grasses that are native habitat, goldenrods, milkweeds. We actually have 3 different cases on our right-of-ways where we have threatened and endangered flowers, and it's the sole purpose because we're keeping the saplings out of that area and letting those plants thrive. Now, we do take care of those areas, and we make sure what we're doing and what we're treating, because we're responsible in what we do. But late season pollinator habitat, you're not going to find more than what's in our right-of-ways. And actually, in the last few years, we went from treating the right-of-way every 6 years to treating the right-of-way with herbicide every 3 years. And that sounds like a lot, but in our studies and our research, what we actually do is we use less herbicide treating every 3 years than we do treating it one time every 6 years. So it sounds backwards, but treating it twice in that time frame, we use less herbicide than we do treating it once. But nonetheless, there's a tool and a place for certain things. And a lot of the household products that you're going to use, dish soap, anything like that, is actually more toxic than what we're using. So what we're using is a very safe, it's more or less a salt that goes in there and gums up the photosynthesis process in those plants. And that right there is we're trying to create, and not only do we focus on the saplings, but we also focus on invasive species, things like Johnson grass or kudzu, bamboo, Bradford pears now being one, barberries, multiflora rose. All those things are invasive species that are taking over our native habitat. And if we go in there and treat those, we can eliminate those, at least in our right-of-ways, where they would completely take over and outcompete the native habitat. By cutting any of those, all they do is thrive. It's almost like putting a fertilizer on any invasive plant. When you cut it, it comes back twice as thick, twice as hard. And I know a lot of people do not like herbicide, but we brought those plants here, and if we're going to let our native habitat actually have a chance, that is what you have to do to take care of those invasive species.